What's up everyone? In this video I'm going to show you the books that helped me to become a better man. Although for every man that will always be a work in progress, these are the books that helped me get started. My name is Orlando Martel and this is Martel Dynamics. Alright, let's get right to it. Number 1, The Intelligent Investor. Before getting into this book real quick, I just want to say that these books represent not just books but categories for me. Each book that I will show you represents a category that I think you should take into consideration when reading. You should take into consideration when looking for books to read to help you become a better man. The Intelligent Investor represents a category of money for me. One of the most important responsibilities of a man is to provide to his family and to provide to his community, but most importantly to his family. And there is no way one can do that without knowing how to manage your money in the first place. I think specifically this book is more relevant today than ever. We're living in those days where 14-year-old boys are telling other men, grown men, how to manage their money and what to buy and what not to buy, and watch stock as whatever, hotter or something. Warren Buffett, considered by some the most successful investors and by others the greatest of all time in this world of investing, said that this book is by far the best book on investing ever written. It says it right on the cover. This book literally changed the way on how I look at my money. The book will show you what to do with your money, but most importantly, what not to do with your money. I think it's necessary for every man to read this book because if you get through this book, then you can help not only yourself, but you can help your spouse, you can help your kids in the future, and it's something that you can invest in this book. If you buy this book, you're investing in yourself, you're investing in your future. And although this book has like 500 pages, I will definitely read it again because for me it is that important. Alright, number 2, Make Your Bed by Admiral William McRaven. Make Your Bed represents a category of discipline for me. This book teaches you how the subtitle says that little things that can change the world, little things that you can change in your life can help you go a long way. Like making your bed, as the title says. I'm going to read to you some of the items on the chapters so you can understand what this book is about. Chapter 1 says start your day with a task completed, and that's the concept of Make Your Bed. You can have a horrible day, but when you come home to a done bed, it's something different. Other rules include you can go at it alone. Only the size of your heart matters. Life's not fair, but drive on. I think this is a great book, and everything that Admiral William McRaven writes is very good for those of us that have to be reminded on the importance of discipline. Sometimes men can change everything at the same time in their lives, but as the top title of this book says, little things can change your life. And it's the small details that you can change day by day and make a big difference in your life. Number 3, Profiles in Courage by President John F. Kennedy. Profiles in Courage is one of those books that changed the way I saw my own life. This is a book about leaders in the United States that never gave in to fear. That although they had fear, specifically in their political positions, they didn't compromise their values and their morality just because someone told them that if you don't do this, you will lose your seat in the Senate, for example, or you will lose your power, or whatever. This is a series of men that even if you don't agree with them politically, or even if you think that what they were standing for was not the right thing to stand for, even if you think like that, the teaching of this book is that you have to do what you think is right. No matter if the world comes to you and says no, give up, don't do this or whatever, you have to stay your ground. And that's one of the teachings that will make you a better man, as it did to me. Because this doesn't mean that you have to be close-minded. It just means that you have to read, you have to make yourself better. And whenever you take a position, whenever you make a decision, stand by it and don't let others tell you otherwise. As the title says, Profiles in Courage. And as a man, you have to have a lot of courage. And even if you don't, even if you think you don't have, you have to find a way to find it because your family depends on you. in the future, or if you already have them, your children will depend on you. So I think this book is a great read. As I understand it, John F. Kennedy wrote this book before he was president, so I think it was very clever of his part to study men like this, to study courageous men in their careers, and try to lead by example. Number 4, The Altruistic Brain by Donald Pfaff. This book represents a category of science to me, but you can take it as a category of psychology. I read this book a very, very long time ago. I think it's been 10 years since I read this book. It represents not getting too pessimistic in life. When men are trying to provide to their families and to protect them, sometimes they can get very overwhelmed with stuff. In general, this book represents the concept of not getting pessimistic or overly pessimistic. People can be naturally good. Everyone has some good in them, as the title says, The Altruistic Brain, and it makes you understand people better. This book gives you something, at least it did to me, of understanding the science, and by understanding the science you can understand the people better, and by understanding the people better you can deal with them in another way, in a different way, in a better way. I think that by reading science, that's one of the categories that should never miss in your bookshelf. You should be up to date with everything that's happening because you can take advantage in that. People are always saying that knowledge is power, but knowledge is not power, obviously. The power comes when you apply that knowledge. It doesn't matter if you have all the knowledge in the world, if you have read all the books in the world. If you don't apply them, they won't be useful for anything. Number 5, The Checklist Manifesto by Atal Gawande. Atal Gawande is one of my favorite authors. I have read almost everything that he has written, but this book specifically changed the way I go by my day. The title is The Checklist Manifesto, so obviously it's about how can you do better checklists. It gives you great examples on how, for example, pilots deal with their problems. If an engine fails and you're a pilot and you have 100 passengers in, you have the responsibility of saving those 100 lives. And how do they deal with it? They have a checklist. They have a checklist, and not a complicated checklist, because that's another point. Sometimes men want to get 20 things done in a day, and you get overwhelmed and you end up the day doing one thing or doing none of those things. So sometimes less is better. In that sense, if you make a checklist, at least that's what I got from this book. You make a simple checklist of 5 to 6 to maximum 10 things you want to get done in the day. You get them done all, and then you have progress. And then there's simplicity in getting things done. Don't overcomplicate things. Make simple checklists. If you want to get this book, this will be a great read. It tells you a lot about doctors, obviously, because the author is a surgeon. It tells you how doctors deal with the surgeries and with everything they have to get done in a day. Doctors are one of those professionals that they're obligated to get 1,000 things done in a day. And the only way it's doable, it's by making a checklist, making sure you don't forget anything that you have to get done, and just dealing with it. Number 6, The Red Circle by Webb. I have a thing for military books, specifically Navy SEALs and Marine books. There's something to learn about the experiences of military men that I don't find anything else. You can read all the books in the world, but the men that go through these very violent situations and these very, very stressful situations, you just have to respect that. Respect your veterans, learning from what they learned. In military books, you can find a lot of teachings from discipline and organization too. And before I read the books that I have mentioned to you before, I learned about from military books. I don't think a year goes by without me reading some book about the military. The Navy SEALs specifically have taught me that a violent man, uncontrolled, is not a strong man. Because you have to control your emotions. You have to control that impulse to be violent. It has to be there, but you have to learn how to control it. You know, Jordan Peterson asks the question that, what is better, to be a gardener in war or to be a warrior in a garden? Obviously, you would want to be the warrior in the garden. But the point is that you have to control yourself as a man. You have to control your emotions. You know, I always see people questioning the point that men don't cry. And I have never seen a problem with it, because for me, the point is that it's not that men don't cry, because we obviously do. It's that men have to control their emotions. Because imagine you are in your family and you're crying, your wife is crying, your kids are crying. It's chaos. There's no control. But I think the concept of not crying is that you have to control your emotions as a man to be able to help your family, to be able to be that wall or be that fortress for your wife and your family and everyone in your life. So those are some lessons that at least I have learned from military books. Number 7, 12 Rules for Life by Jordan B. Peterson. This book I haven't actually read, but I have seen every video that Jordan B. Peterson has on YouTube and has on every platform about the book and explaining each rule of the book. I will definitely read the physical book, and that's why I bought it. But this book is something else. I understand that this author is very controversial for some people, and even if you think you don't agree with anything he says, I think it's still worth reading. It has some teachings, some lessons that will help every man. I mean, beginning with the first rule, it says in the book, stand up straight with your shoulders back. Man, that is something else. You can have the worst day, but there is something to it. And he explains it in the book, but there's something happening in your brain that you can have the most horrible day, but just doing this, breathing, getting your shoulders back, and walking straight makes you feel more secure, makes you feel more comfortable with yourself, makes you feel more confident. Whatever you think about this book or this author, I think you should definitely read it. For me, it has helped me incredibly. This book represents to me the category of self-help books. And I know some people don't like self-help books. They think they are a scam or something. But in my opinion, I don't think you will ever go wrong with Jordan Peterson. And personally, I don't see it as a self-help book. I just see it as a book of psychology, let's say, or just facts. This is not one of those books that tell you, oh, you have to believe in yourself, you have to go on in your life, blah, blah, blah. This book, in my opinion, straight to the facts. So go get it. Number 8, Letters from Leaders by multiple authors. This book is like a compendium of multiple leaders around the world, from presidents of the United States, from CEOs, from presidents of other countries, to small business owners, artists, mentors, role models. This book is just amazing. For some reason, I find myself reading this book every 2 or 3 years, because it has letters from each of those people. If they have like the physical letter, they will put a copy of the letter in the book. For example, this is a copy of a letter written by George Bush, and it's his handwriting. It has more letters, like, for example, this is a letter of the King of Jordan. The book is great. If the book doesn't have the physical letter, a copy of the physical letter, it has just the letter written as a book itself. And there's something personal about reading the thoughts of world leaders. Again, even if you don't agree with them, they are just great to read. Because by reading them, you can mold and you can form, you can build your own mindset. You can build the way you would like to lead. This book represents a category of leadership to me. That is one of the responsibilities of a man, being a leader in his family, being a leader in his community. There's a fun fact that this book teaches you, and other books like it in this category, and is that to be a good leader, you have to be a good follower first. There's no way you will know how to lead if you don't understand whoever you're trying to lead. So in a way, it teaches you how to listen, or it teaches you to listen to others, and never be closed-minded. The last but not least book is The Case for Christ by Lee Strobel. This book represents the category of religion to me. Even if you're not religious, I think you should definitely open yourself to reading books about religion, because it can teach everyone something. I don't care what you get your morality from, there's always something you can teach yourself on how to be a better man in general, a better person. If you are religious, I don't think you should never stop reading anything about whatever religion shows. But in the case you're Christian, this book is excellent for people that want to learn more about what is the evidence of the actual real person of Jesus Christ. It's a book that, at least to me, it taught me about what Christians think about Jesus, and like it or not, believe him or not, Jesus Christ is a very big personality in the Western Hemisphere in general. So in the very least, reading about him will teach you about the world and will teach you about a great percentage, a big percentage of the people, of the men you will encounter in your life. So guys, if you're still here, thank you. If this video brought you any value at all, please click the like button and consider subscribing to this channel. And now I will see you on the next one. Bye.